not a lot of that dynamicism. Not a lot of that dynamicism. What the hell is the word?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. Record review time. And we are talking about the new Paramore record, This Is Why. I myself have never really listened to a whole lot of Paramore. I've been kind of aware of them on the periphery and have sort of tracked their evolution over time. I'm aware of their kind of emo pop punk beginnings, matured into making more kind of like refined pop, synth pop, some pretty decent pop singles that I recall from several years ago, but never really dove into a record. So this is my first full-on experience with an album from them. How about you guys, Paramore fans?
It's a no from Cramser. I like Paramore. I've heard all their albums. Actually saw them live back before they were like even a big deal, before Riot came out. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the band. I don't know if they ever made any of my lists, but they were close for songs and albums. And I don't mind the emo style, so uh yeah, I've always thought they were pretty good.
Well, Jason and I hate the email style, really, as you should. Um, but yeah, it is interesting kind of how they transformed into just more of like a modern, a little bit more straightforward kind of just synthy pop rock band. I think this is the second album I've listened to. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I don't have like a raging hatred for them. I would probably go see one of their shows for like $10 or under, and that's probably the peak I would spend. But I did like Petals for Armor quite a good bit, her solo album from a few years ago, and then Flowers for Vases, the one her follow up. So I might like her solo stuff more. I don't know.
So how are we feeling about this new one?
I thought it was good. I think it's good, but unremarkable is the best way to put it. And I'll elaborate more, but 3 stars right off the bat. It's good. It's a soft three.
I thought it was good, but not great, and probably not the best direction for the band. It's certainly a lot different than their last album, After Laughter, which was very like neon 80s, a lot of synths, a lot of, kind of that retro sound that's been popular for the past 15 years now. But they did it in a way that sort of combined their emo pop punk tendencies with that 80s style, and I thought it worked really well. And this is like, it's weird. It's very like post punk almost. It's very Block Party. It's very, turn of the tens and 20, or turn of the tens, kind of like indie rock, like Angular, and a lot of guitar stabs, sparse. And I don't know. I think it just dilutes what makes them good in a lot of ways, which is Hayley Williams' acrobatic vocals and the emotion. It's almost emotionless, and it's very sort of just the same level throughout. Not a lot of that dynamics that made them so interesting. And there's nothing on here that's gonna like win over the Olivia Rodriguez like fans who like Paramore because they heard her take it for Good For You. Like there's nothing like Misery Business or anything like that on this album. So I don't know. It's good, and I think they're a good band, but it's probably like a low 3.5 for me.
Well, I did not expect to be the big fan of this record among the three of us. I mean, it's not amazing, but I liked it a lot. Joe's right. A lot more angular type of stuff going on. A little bit of a pivot back towards more rock centric sounds. It seems to be more guitar forward, less synth happening here. Yeah, he mentioned some of the bands that I had written down, but like Block Party and Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Even some older post punk. Here's some maybe like Television and some of the guitar parts. I also wonder how much of like the post punk revival of recent years has had like an impact on them going in this direction, stuff like Black Country New Road and Squid and Dry Cleaning. I can definitely hear like the maybe some dry cleaning influence on the spoken word part in C'est Comme Ça. But I don't know. I thought there were a lot of really cool musical ideas on display on this record. You've got like that weird bouncy hiccuping bass part on Running Out of Time. Got kind of a disco groove on C'est Comme Ça. Liars has this really great pop chorus. That one's kind of like the ballad on the record. A lot of really cool, like catchy, unexpected guitar parts all over the place on this record. I was pretty impressed with the guitar playing. And I would say on second listen to this, pretty much every track felt super familiar. So all it took was one listen through, and now like I think that's a good sign. Like it's pretty immediate. The songs sink in, they kind of stick with you. I felt like I remembered hearing all of the parts on the second time through. I wish the one drawback, I wish it was a tiny bit more rough around the edges. I think they could have leaned into the aggression even a little bit more, especially in the vocals. I think Haley is singing her butt off, but the way it's produced, the vocals are hitting more like pop vocals than rock vocals. And I think the vocal sound could use a little more edge to it to really make this direction feel more impactful, because it's right now it's like this really cool angular guitar rock record that's mixed like a pop record, and it doesn't quite have the impact that it could, I don't think. So I don't know. I was super surprised by my enjoyment of this. For me, it's a high 3.5, edging towards 4. I thought it was quite good. So yeah, I liked it.
Well, yeah, I like what all you guys had to say. I would say that you're pretty much spot on by all those influences, but they're still kind of like in the bubble, still being just like this pop radio band and not letting it really consume them. But I do think that it's recorded in a little bit more of like an amateurish kind of like stripped back fashion. Like it almost sounds like, especially with some of the drums, like it's just like one of the first songs you would hear like back when the iPod came out. Like it's not really booming and in your face or like inside your head. But I do kind of like, like my favorite stuff on this is kind of like the hooky guitar parts that are really claustrophobic and angular and charged up and wild. And there's like kind of that neo disco kind of guitar strumming on it throughout, a little bit of dance rock like Block Party. And I love Block Party. I just don't think, I think there's some really good songs on it, but not like a great song like C'est Comme Ça. Pretty cool. I really like Figure Eight a good bit. At the end, I think it gets a little bit too drab, and like they're like, okay, we're gonna end the album a little bit slower and emotional with like Liars and all that, like a little more touching, and the kind of last songs are a little bit in there. And I think there's even a little bit of like early 90s kind of like dream pop a little bit mixed in there. Like I get kind of Sundays vibes on Crave. And even though like I liked the feeling of the album and all that, I don't think there's just that many songs to really bring me back to be excited about it, but I did like it, so I'm sticking with 3 stars. I do think they're reaching a little bit, maybe trying a little bit too hard to like be a little bit different than their older stuff, especially in a song like Big Man Little Dignity. Like it has a cool guitar hook, but it's kind of convoluted with its message and its lyrics and kind of the meter with the rhythm of her singing. But most of them are kind of, yeah, like you said, just like kind of stabbing, icy, cool kind of mid-energy rockers. So it's nothing to laugh at. It's a good effort. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my expectations for Paramore are a little different. I obviously not a big post-punk fan, and I don't know. I think the vocals, I'm going to disagree with Jason. I don't think she's singing her butt off at all. I think it's way too sort of like straightforward. None of the things that make her Haley Williams really come out till the end. And the lyrics, like there's some stabs at political satire and stuff like that. And I think it mostly comes off flat. I don't think they're saying anything interesting enough to sort of justify the change in direction. I do like the end, the last 3 tracks, probably the best. I think Liar, they double her vocals, and it kind of sounds like the typical like folky alternative female fronted stuff lately. And then I think the Crave and Thick Skull, a little more of the emotional range and a little closer to Paramore of old. the first couple tracks, This Is Why, like it's kind of shocking to hear the space and everything. Like it's very like, here's the drums and a little bass and like nothing's happening. You get a little groove going. The guitar comes in and stabs, but I just don't know if they do it well enough as far as songwriting goes. I think the guitar tones are really cool and there's some cool parts, but I just don't think the songs themselves come together as well as they could. And they're pretty good writers of big pop hooks. Like that's always been their thing. And I think that kind of gets dialed down a little bit too much.
All right. So there you go. Let us know what you think of this record if you've heard it. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check the video description for links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, website, merch, and Patreon. Check it all out. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.